Hello students, welcome to Engineering Mechanics course. In this class, we will solve one numerical example on equivalent force couple system. How to find out equivalent force couple system of a forces acting on a body. So the problem is there is one car and various forces acting on the different parts or different points of the car are like this. The weight of the car is 1400 Newton vertically downward. Then the vertical force acting on the wheel like 800 Newton, 600 Newton, and horizontal forces like 50 Newton towards left and 30 Newton towards left. There is one point is given here, that is point G. Different distances are also given to you, distance between the various points where forces are acting. Now question is, find the equivalent force coupled system about the point G for the set of forces shown below. So all of you please note one thing, whenever question is on equivalent force coupled system, about which point you have to find out equivalent force coupled system, that will be always given. So here it is mentioned, find the equivalent force coupled system about point G. So it means you have to find out the equivalent force and equivalent couple about point G. So equivalent force means the resultant of given forces. So resultant of force system is called as equivalent force. And equivalent couple means the summation of moment of all forces about a point. So if question is to find out equivalent force couple system, it means you have to find out very first step what is the resultant of given force system. It is called as equivalent force, and you have to find out moment of all forces about that point where you want to find out the equivalent force couple system. That point is G in this problem. So we will start with the very first step to find out what is equivalent force, that is resultant. All of you know that to find out resultant we need to find out the summation of Fx and summation of Fy, right? So first we have to find out what is summation of Fx is. Collect all forces which are in x direction. So if you look at, there are 5 forces in this problem. 2 forces on rear wheel, 2 forces on front wheel, and 1 force is about point G, that is assumed to be the weight of the car vertically downward. So how many forces are there in x direction? There are only 2 forces, 50 Newton towards left and 30 Newton towards left. So both are towards left, means minus 30 and minus 50. The answer is minus 80 Newton. Similarly, summation of Fy equal to, collect the forces which are in y direction. So this is upward 600 Newton, so it is plus, upward 800 Newton, it is also plus, and downward 1400 Newton, it is minus. So plus 600 minus 1400 plus 800, this is summation of Fy. The answer is equal to 0 Newton. So answer of this is 0 Newton. So summation of Fy equal to 0 and summation of Fx equal to minus 80. So when summation of Fy equal to 0, we know that we are calling it as a resultant is horizontal, right? Resultant is horizontal. Okay, this is not vertical, resultant is horizontal. Okay, now mathematically also you can find out resultant using the formula summation of Fx square plus summation of Fy square, 80 square plus 0 square. The answer is coming 80 Newton. So when summation of Fy equal to 0, summation of Fx is equal to R. Okay, when summation of Fy equal to 0, summation of Fx equal to R, it means R is horizontal. R is horizontal. The answer is coming 80 Newton. Okay, now summation of Fx is minus 80, which represent that minus represent that resultant must be towards left. Resultant must be towards left because summation of Fx is minus and summation of Fy is 0. So summation of Fx equal to R, answer is minus, so resultant is towards left. Now this is equivalent force. This is answer of first equivalent force. Okay, now second is equivalent couple. For that we have to take the moments. Moment of all forces about which point? Moment of all these forces about which point? About point G, because it is mentioned in the problem statement itself that determine equivalent force coupled system about point G. So we have to take moment of all forces about point G only. Okay, now in the previous video we discussed how to find out the moment. Moment is equal to force into perpendicular distance. Perpendicular distance between what? The perpendicular distance between the point where that force is acting and the point where we are taking moment. The perpendicular distance between this is called as d, and F is the magnitude of that force. You will get the moment. Okay, now since we have to determine the equivalent force coupled system about point G, we have to take moment about point G. Now one more point we discussed in the previous video is that if any force which is passing through the same point where we are taking moment, the moment of that force is always equal to 0, because d equal to 0. So here, since we have to determine the moment about point G and 1400 Newton force is passing through the point G, its moment is equal to 0. So moment of 1400 is equal to 0. Now remaining 4 forces. So identify the perpendicular distances carefully. Identify perpendicular distance. So if force is horizontal, perpendicular distance is vertical. Perpendicular distance is vertical. And if force is vertical, perpendicular distance is horizontal. Please remember, if force is vertical, perpendicular distance is horizontal. If force is horizontal, perpendicular distance is vertical. So now what is perpendicular distance of 30 Newton? 30 Newton and 50 Newton, these two forces are in the same line of action. So distance from the point G, vertical distance is given to you, that is 2.5 meter. So perpendicular distance of 50 Newton horizontal force and 30 Newton horizontal force is 2.5 meter. And 600 Newton force is vertical, its perpendicular distance is horizontal, which is given to you 5 meter from point G. Similarly 800 Newton force vertical, its perpendicular distance is horizontal, its perpendicular distance from point G is given 4 meter. So perpendicular distance of 600 is 5 meter, perpendicular distance of 800 is 4 meter, perpendicular distance of 30 Newton and 50 Newton is 2.5 meter. Force into perpendicular distance is called as moment. Now if you apply this concept, so finally equivalent couple, which means the summation of moment about point G is equal to 800 into 4, 600 into 5, 50 into 2.5 and 30 into 2.5. Now this plus minus depends on the nature of moment, right? Nature of moment. We have taken here anti-clockwise nature as a positive and clockwise nature as a negative, right? Now how to decide this nature? If you look at the previous figure again, we are taking moment about point G. As we discussed, if force is like this vertically upward, move in the direction of force and come toward the point where we are taking moment, so you will understand this nature of 600 is clockwise. Similarly 800 Newton upward, move upward, come towards point G, the nature of 800 is anti-clockwise. Now 30 Newton going towards left, so move towards left and come towards point G, nature of 30 Newton is clockwise. Similarly for 50 Newton towards left, move towards left and come towards point G, and this nature is also clockwise. So three moments are clockwise. Which three? 30 Newton is clockwise, 50 Newton is clockwise and 600 Newton is also clockwise. Only 800 is anti-clockwise. So 800 moment is plus, remaining all three moments will be minus. So 800 is plus, remaining all three are minus. So 800 into 4 minus 600 into 5 minus 50 into 2.5 and minus 30 into 2.5. If you calculate all this, if you solve this sum, your answer is coming 0 Newton meter. It means there is no moment. Okay, so moment is 0, that is called as equivalent couple, and resultant is 80 Newton horizontal towards left. Okay, this is equivalent force 80 Newton left and equivalent couple is 0 Newton meter. So if you show that at the point G, this is point G, our equivalent force is 80 Newton towards left and moment is anti-clockwise or clockwise. Since here we got the 0 answer, okay, moment is 0. So when you show that resultant, equivalent force and equivalent couple at point G, this is called as equivalent force couple system. This is called as equivalent force couple system. So if problems are equivalent force couple system, then what you have to do, you have to find out resultant of given force system. You have to find out resultant of given force system using your regular formula, that is summation of fx square plus summation of fy square. Then you have to find out moment of all forces about the same point which is given in the problem statement, that is point G. You have to find out moment of all forces about point G. Then about that point you have to show the resultant as well as moment. If you show that, this is called as equivalent force couple system. I hope all of you understand how to find out equivalent force couple system for a given forces acting on a body. Okay, thank you very much.